Now, following President Trump's address to Congress last night, Senator Bernie Sanders decided to deliver his own response to the president via Facebook. Let's take a look.
Tonight, President Trump once again made it clear that he plans on working with Republicans in Congress who want to repeal the Affordable Care Act, throw 20 million Americans off of health insurance, privatize Medicare, make massive cuts in Medicaid, raise the cost of prescription drugs for seniors, eliminate funding for Planned Parenthood, while at the same time he wants to give yet another massive tax break to the wealthiest Americans, which is what would happen if the Affordable Care Act were repealed. As he did during his campaign, Donald Trump claimed that he would bring down the cost of prescription drugs. A few weeks ago, he even said that the pharmaceutical industry was, quote, getting away with murder, end quote. But if Donald Trump really wanted to take on the pharmaceutical industry, he would have told his Republican friends in the House and the Senate to pass legislation which I introduced today with 20 senators, allowing Americans to import safe, low-cost medicine from Canada. We should not have to pay the highest prices in the world for the medicine we use.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a summary on what Sanders thinks Trump was talking about. And look, he hit him on not protecting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And look, Trump did talk about repealing Obamacare. Now, as I pointed out yesterday, they still don't have the whole replace part down. Repeal, yeah, okay, we can do the repeal, but replace, we don't really have a plan for this to replace it. Now, remember also, repealing the ACA, Sanders points out, will just save the richest 400 households a total of $7 million a year. That's why that's all while your prices will go up, because those that $7 million a year paid for the subsidies for the ACA. So your prices will go up. You won't have the subsidy support. Their taxes will go down. And look, speaking of taxes, Trump's tax plan will massively benefit rich people. According to the Tax Policy Center, 47.3% of the gains of his tax plan will go to the top 1%, and nearly a quarter goes to the top 0.1%, all of whom will make over $3.75 million a year. By contrast, only 6.6% of the cost of Trump's plan goes for tax cuts for the middle fifth of taxpayers, the middle class, households making between $48,000 and $84,000 a year. So that's what. So don't be confused by the flowery rhetoric that he used during his speech. He is for the 1%. He's out there to help rich people. Now, this is a giveaway to the wealthiest Americans who, look, are not at all incentivized to create jobs or invest back into their businesses. That's what's going on here. It's more fairy dust. And it's going to be paid for by cutting incredibly popular programs that people depend on. This is reverse Robin Hood. This is what's going on here. Now, finally, Sanders is going to give his own message to the people who have been out there challenging the Trump administration. Let's take a look at that.
Since the beginning of this year, we have seen unprecedented grassroots energy from Maine to California. Last week, at Republican town hall meetings across the country, and at more than 150 rallies that took place from coast to coast, the American people sent a clear message about what they expect from Congress. As a result, the Republicans are getting very, very worried. They're not so cocky anymore about simply repealing Obamacare. And they should be worried, because the American people are standing up. And what they are saying loudly and clearly is, no, you're not going to repeal the Affordable Care Act. No, you're not going to destroy it. You are going to improve it. And in my view, what we must be doing right now is not only defending the Affordable Care Act, not only improving the Affordable Care Act, we have got to move forward to join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a right, not a privilege. We must go forward towards a Medicare for all single-payer program. But defeating these attempts to destroy the Affordable Care Act and transfer even more of our nation's wealth to Donald Trump and his billionaire friends is going to take all of us coming together and making our voices heard. Those of you who attended rallies or town hall meetings, keep showing up. Keep calling Congress and continue the fight. The Republicans are now on the defensive, and we've got to continue to push them back. Those of you who haven't taken action yet, we need your voices. We need your action. Only together, when millions of people stand up and fight for economic justice, for social justice, for racial justice, for environmental justice, only then can we create the political revolution that will turn this country around.
Agreed. Now look, he's right though. They're not cocky anymore. The Republicans, right? That's because most Americans have shown that they don't want to repeal the ACA. I mean, Republicans read polls. Some of them might not believe in polls. Oh, they get the polls wrong. No, they read the polls. According to the new McClatchy-Maris poll released on Monday, 2/3 of Americans are against a full repeal of the ACA. Pollsters also found that Obamacare's provision preventing insurance companies from denying coverage to those with pre-existing conditions remains super popular. 71% want that provision to stay. 78% back a rule letting children stay in their parents' health care plans until the age of 26. 71% want to keep the federal subsidies helping lower-income people pay for health insurance. Now, I mentioned that earlier. That's where that $7 million in taxing rich people, well, that's what that pays for. So you get rid of the ACA, these people save $7 million. They're very, very rich, and you don't get your subsidies anymore. But most of the American people, they're like, no, keep the subsidies. We need the subsidies. That helps us afford health insurance. Basically, what the American people want is the ACA minus the individual mandate. And there are other polls that say pretty much the same thing, where most Americans are like, let's fix the law, let's tweak it, let's do something, let's get rid of some of the stuff that doesn't make sense. For example, they think that let's get rid of the individual mandate. Okay, well, the problem with that, of course, and I've pointed this out before, the mandate's kind of necessary to make the whole fucking thing work. And look, that's just one of the issues that's been raised at these town halls that some Republicans, like Marco Rubio, have been running away from. And I've showed you all these different Republicans that are running from their town halls, running from their constituents. Some of them have gone on to actually answer questions and face their constituents, and got to give them credit for that, for at least listening to the people. But regardless, I mean, this is one of the reasons why some Republicans are running from this, because they don't want to hear it. Because they don't want to be challenged by their constituents, because they work for their donors. So that's what we have here. But look, back to Bernie's message. It's simple. Keep fighting. Keep being active, because that's the only way that you get change, when you challenge your politicians. And it's also one of the only ways that you're going to beat Trump is if you remain active and you get involved in the political system. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.